Maplewood. The name itself conjured images of quaint cottages, lush lawns, and the sweet scent of maple in the air. It was the kind of town where people waved at strangers and left their doors unlocked. At least, that was the picture from the outside. Behind the perfectly manicured hedges and the smiles plastered on for neighbourhood barbecues, a different story often unfolded. A story like Clara's. Clara and David, the golden couple, high school sweethearts. He was handsome and successful, she was beautiful and charming. They were the envy of their friends, the pride of their families. Their life together seemed like something out of a dream that was about to turn into a nightmare. The truth was, David had a temper, a raging beast that lurked beneath his polished exterior, waiting for the slightest provocation to be unleashed. And Clara, sweet, gentle Clara, had become an expert at walking on eggshells, terrified of triggering his fury. She lived in a constant state of fear, her every move dictated by the need to appease him. The first time David grabbed her arm, Clara told herself it was an accident. He'd had a bad day at work, he didn't mean it. The look in his eyes, though, told a different story. It sent a shiver down her spine, a premonition of the darkness that was to come. It started subtly, a snide remark here, a dismissive gesture there. Then the yelling started, the accusations, the threats. David's temper was a wildfire, consuming everything in its path, leaving behind a trail of ashes and fear. Clara felt herself shrinking, her spirit slowly being crushed under the weight of his abuse. The neighbours, of course, noticed nothing, or perhaps they chose not to see. After all, what went on behind closed doors was none of their business. And Clara, isolated and terrified, was too ashamed to speak out. She clung to the hope that things would get better, that the man she'd fallen in love with would somehow return. But hope, she would soon learn, could be a dangerous thing. The storm raged outside, mirroring the turmoil in Clara's heart. Thunder rattled the windows and lightning split the sky, casting eerie shadows on the walls. It was as if nature itself was mirroring the violence that was about to unfold. It started with a broken plate, a careless mistake on Clara's part. David's reaction was explosive. He flew into a rage, his voice a booming thunderclap that shook the very foundation of the house. Clara cowered, her body trembling, her mind racing, desperate for an escape.
You clumsy bitch.
David roared, his face contorted in fury. He advanced on her, his eyes blazing with a terrifying light. Clara, paralyzed with fear, could only shrink back, her breath caught in her throat. The room seemed to spin, the walls closing in. This was it. This was the moment she'd been dreading. He shoved her hard. Clara stumbled, her hand instinctively reaching out. He grabbed her arm, his grip like a vice. Pain shot through her, but his eyes terrified her the most. It was the look of a predator. He dragged her down the hallway. He pushed her into the darkness of the closet. The door slammed shut. The lock clicked. Clara was trapped. She slid down the wall, her back pressed against the cold plaster. Tears streamed down her face. She was alone. Lily, with her kind eyes and gentle smile, had always been observant. She noticed things that others missed, a change in routine, a flicker of fear in a neighbour's eyes, a car parked haphazardly in the driveway.
So, when I saw the curtains drawn in the middle of the day, a prickle of unease ran down my spine.
David had barked at her over the fence, his eyes darting around nervously. She hadn't seen Clara in days. No cheerful wave from the porch.
Something felt off, deeply unsettlingly off.
The storm that night only heightened Lily's concern. She sat by her window, a cup of chamomile tea growing cold in her hands. The wind howled, the rain lashed against the glass, and still the curtains remained drawn. A knot of worry tightened in Lily's stomach. The hours crawled by. Time seemed to stretch and distort in the suffocating darkness of the closet. Clara huddled on the floor, her knees pulled up to her chest, her arms wrapped around her legs. She had cried until there were no tears left, her sobs reduced to shuddering breaths that racked her body.
Just when I thought I could take no more, a faint sound reached my ears. A soft, rhythmic tapping. It was coming from the wall, just behind my head.
Hope, fragile as a newborn bird, fluttered in her chest. Slowly, cautiously, she reached back, her fingers brushing against the rough surface of the wall.
There, a small, almost imperceptible give. Someone was knocking on the other side.
Clara's heart leapt. She wasn't alone. Someone had heard her. Lily's hand trembled as she knocked on the door. Her heart pounded in her chest, a drumbeat of fear and determination. She had no idea what she would say, what she would do, but she knew she couldn't ignore the feeling gnawing at her gut. Something was wrong. She had to help.
Lily,
The door swung open, revealing David. His hair was disheveled, his eyes bloodshot.
what brings you out in this weather?
I was worried about Clara.
Lily met his gaze, her own steady and unwavering.
Clara's fine. She's asleep.
He tried to shut the door, but Lily put out a hand, stopping him.
Can I see her?
David's eyes narrowed, his jaw clenched.
It's late, Lily. You should go home.
Lily knew then, with a sickening certainty, that her instincts had been right. Clara was in danger.
Let her go, David.
Lily's voice, though small, rang with an unexpected authority. David hesitated, his grip on Clara's arm loosening for a fraction of a second. It was all the opportunity Lily needed. She lunged forward, pushing him with all her might. David stumbled back, momentarily caught off guard. Lily grabbed Clara's hand.
Run!
She yelled, pulling her towards the door. They didn't hesitate, didn't look back. They ran as if the hounds of hell were on their heels, through the pouring rain, the wind whipping at their faces, their breath coming in ragged gasps. The car was a blur of motion, a sanctuary from the storm. Lily sped through the deserted streets of Maplewood, the town lights blurring into streaks of colour. Clara huddled in the passenger seat, her body trembling with shock and exhaustion, looked back one last time at the receding silhouette of the town. It was over. She was free. The call went out, cutting through the quiet complacency of Maplewood like a siren. Domestic disturbance. A hushed whisper rippled through the manicured lawns and behind the lace curtains. People who had turned a blind eye, who had chosen to believe in the facade, were forced to confront the ugliness that had festered in their midst. The police arrived at the house on Maplewood Lane. The evidence was irrefutable. The broken picture frame, the shattered vase, the faint but unmistakable scent of fear that clung to the air. David's protests, his attempts to explain away his actions, were met with deaf ears.
Sir, you need to come with us.
The community, shaken from its slumber, rallied around Clara. There were offers of support, of shelter, of legal aid. The women of Maplewood, their voices united in a chorus of outrage and compassion, formed a protective circle around her, a testament to the power of female solidarity.
We're here for you, Clara. You're not alone.
The road to recovery was long and arduous. There were nightmares, flashbacks, moments when the fear threatened to consume her once more. But Clara was a survivor. With each passing day she grew stronger, the shadows of the past receding a little more. The outpouring of support from the community, the unwavering love of her newfound friends, gave her the strength to rebuild her life. She found solace in therapy, in sharing her story, in knowing that she was not alone.
I'm finally free.
The fear never fully went away, but it no longer controlled her. It had been replaced by something far more powerful, courage. The courage to leave, to speak out, to reclaim her life. And in that courage, Clara found not just her own freedom, but the strength to inspire others to break free from the chains of silence and abuse. The shadows, once so dark and menacing, had given way to a glimmer of hope, a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit.